I've been watching TV's Cops for as far back as I can remember. My grandpa was a Massachusetts state trooper for just under 25 years, so some of the earliest memories I have of him are of the two of us sitting down with some TV dinners and watching the real-life action unfold before our very eyes. I was watching Cops with a cop, which felt special, particularly to a 10-year-old who pretty much idolized his tough old grandfather. He passed on years and years ago, but whenever I sit down to watch the show today, I just feel like a kid again. So when I saw a commercial for a special episode entitled Cops Live, I was beyond excited. I stocked up on beer and pretzels, turned my phone off, and sat down for some serious nostalgia. Viewer discretion is advised. Cops is filmed on location with the men and women of law enforcement. All suspects are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Good evening, folks, and welcome to a very special edition of Cops, said a well-groomed male presenter, smiling as he turned to his female counterpart. That's right. For the first time ever, we will be live from the front lines of law enforcement, bringing the action directly to you in the comfort and safety of your own home. We now go to our first incident of the evening. Live and direct to you from Batesville, Arkansas, where our camera team is following Officer Taylor Williams. Over to you, Officer Williams, continued the artificially enhanced female host, as the TV faded from the studio setup to a darkened parking lot. It looks like we got ourselves some drug-related activity over here in the parking lot. Officer Williams' voice was croaky, racked with exhaustion. Soundtracked by the melodic chirping of crickets, the young African-American officer stepped out of his patrol car and into the humid night air, stamping out a cigarette he'd been smoking on the drive over. Close by, partially illuminated by the orange glow of distant streetlights, was a shirtless, raving lunatic. Show me your hands, sir, called out Officer Williams, placing one hand on his taser, ready to draw it. The man appeared not to notice him, the camera catching the glint of heavy perspiration covering his torso. Hey, buddy, I'm talking to you. You need to calm down and show me your hands. Right now! It took a moment for the camera to catch what the shirtless man was raving about, but I felt a chill run through my guts when its microphone finally picked it up. It burns! It hurts! I'm fucking burning! He screamed, a heavy-set man who seemed to be trembling with pain, scratching at his own skin. Officer Williams advised the cameraman to keep a safe distance as he closed with the suspect. Did you take something, sir? Asked Officer Williams, still maintaining a safe distance from the suspect. I need to know if you smoked something tonight, buddy. Talk to me, man. Just talk to me. The shirtless man doubled over, clawing at his stomach, his cries of agony unabated. It's inside me. It's inside me and it's trying to get out. Please, please help me. Help me. Officer Williams approached, pulling his taser from its holster and pointing it at the man's hunched form. I want to help you, sir. I do, but I'm a dry stun you. I'm gonna tase you if you don't get down with your hands behind your back. Just work with me here, man. The officer was practically pleading with the frenzied suspect at this point, the fear evident in his voice. No response. Fuck it. The taser cracked as Officer Williams jabbed it into the man's flesh. He went down immediately, followed by Williams taking a knee into the suspect's back while he scrambled for his handcuffs. The cameraman swooped in, getting a close-up of the downed suspect. Just in time to hear Officer Williams' confused, terrified exclamation. What the fuck? The camera focused. The suspect's once flushed pink skin tone had darkened. Thick black hair was sprouting from the man's back as he struggled underneath the weight of the officer. His pained cries had become gruff, wild growls. His voice seemed rougher, deeper as the hair continued to sprout. And the camera panned back to catch the suspect's half-cuffed hands. His nails had grown, long and sharp, and just before the images cut out, the last thing I heard was a high-pitched, blood-curdling howl. Back in the cop's live studio, the male and female presenters stood still as statues, each with a look of pure horror etched on their faces. We just lost the live feed to Officer Williams down in Arkansas. We can only apologize for the sudden loss of picture. The male presenter forced a smile, composing himself to return to his saccharine tone of voice. But, we can bring you to a live feed coming from a sheriff's deputy down in Louisiana. Let's see how our southern cousins enforce the law, shall we? My name is Deputy Lance Parkhill. I'm a sheriff's deputy down here in St. Gabriel, Louisiana, began the slow southern drawl, set to images of the deputy driving around his small southern township. Been a member of the department for about 5 years, and I take a great sense of pride serving the community I grew up in. Deputy Parkhill proceeded to explain how he was on a simple night patrol, driving around the township, ready to respond to any 911 calls that might be made. Well, just who do we have here? He said softly, practically under his breath. I watched as the cameraman focused in on a tall, willowy man, stood in the middle of a suburban street. The man stood still in a kind of crooked pose, dressed entirely in black, wearing a long coat and an antiquated top hat. It's a little late for Halloween, sir, called out Deputy Parkhill, exiting his vehicle as the cameraman followed. Mind telling me what you're doing out so late, dressed like that? The man said nothing. The camera caught a subtle tilt of the head as he studied the sheriff's deputy before he turned and began to limp away. Sir, please remain where you are. This is the St. Gabriel Sheriff's Department. You're not in any trouble, but I would like to have a The deputy's words were cut short as a dark figure's gait extended into a staggered run, suddenly leaping high into the air, out of the camera's sight. What in the world? Murmured Deputy Parkhill before he rushed back to his squad car and sped off down the street. He made a violent U-turn, speeding down the next street over. There he is, son of a bitch, growled the deputy as he sighted a strangely slender man, stood just in the middle of the street. Before the squad car could catch up with him, the figure made another impossible leap over a house, disappearing from view once again. What the fuck was that, deputy? Asked the cameraman, his voice shuddering with fear. I don't know, man. I don't know, replied Deputy Parkhill. He sounded just as afraid. The squad car repeated the previous maneuver, hurtling into the street over, trying in vain to spot the jumping man once again. In an instant, there was a loud crash. The screech of bending metal as the squad car's windows cracked under some invisible force. Loud cursing could be heard. The camera struggled to regain focus, and when it finally did, what I saw took my breath away. Those long, unnaturally long legs, huge feet clad in shoddily constructed hobnail boots, stood on the hood of the now ruined patrol car. Deputy Parkhill, covered in blood and broken glass, reached for his service pistol, pointed it up towards the cracked windshield, and fired 2 shots. The glass shattered, falling back into the front seats of the vehicle, as a hideous screech of agony could be heard. At least, that's what I thought it was at first. It wasn't agony I was hearing from that long-legged thing. It was amusement. It was laughing. Laughing as it dragged Deputy Parkhill from his seat and pulled him into the darkness. The show was cut off by the network. Our apologies, but we seem to be experiencing some technical difficulties. The message ran across the screen while some light-hearted elevator music played. I sat there, dumbfounded, before switching off my set. Officially, Season 31, Episode 12 of Cops does not exist. The network denies it even aired. But that's not the part that disturbs me. Phone service has been disconnected from the towns of Batesville and St. Gabriel. It's impossible to connect to any of the landlines that run into the towns of the surrounding areas. What's more, there's been an increased incidence of unexplained occurrences reported to the police since last week's episode. Something's happening all over the country. Something that's taking over whole towns. Something that's not part of this world. Something truly, darkly, unimaginably evil.